Hello and welcome back to another Bad Movie Reviews review hosted by your favourite film lover who will be here for eternity, Ben, and I'm reviewing the latest film from A24, which is titled none other than Eternity. Now, this is a film that I really like the look of from the trailer, and I've been eagerly anticipating it because it was actually a film that the script itself was on, I think it was 2022, the most liked blacklisted scripts that essentially weren't made, and the concept was always really intriguing. And then obviously it is now in made production, it's now out in theatres, and it is directed by David Frayne, which I'm actually not familiar with his previous work, but you've obviously got a incredibly stacked cast here from Elizabeth Olsen, Miles Teller, Callum Turner. You've got the supporting performances from Davine Joy Randolph, John Ely. It's a great cast. Now, the concept of the film essentially is basically after you pass away or die, you go to an afterlife where you basically have 7 days to decide where to spend the rest of your life, or eternity, I should say, obviously life and death. But you follow Joan, who is played by Elizabeth Olsen, where she is basically made to choose between her husband, who passed away in the war very young, who's waited 67 years for her to come to this place, or her husband of 65 years, who is also there. So it's obviously a love triangle, romantic comedy type film with a stacked cast. And to be honest, I'm a bit of a sucker for romantic comedies in the best way. Um, the best of times, really. Obviously, it's probably not something that's, I guess, targeted towards my my type of audience, but I don't want to be hyperbolic when I say this or over the top, but this might be my favourite romantic comedy film that's probably come out in the last 10 nearly plus years. And I think this film just really did it for me. I think it's really, really close to almost being a perfect romantic comedy. There is somewhat pacing towards the end that was a little bit of a. It didn't necessarily lose me, but it did feel like it lost track a tiny little bit, but nothing major. But you have an incredibly gentle, tender performance from Elizabeth Olsen, who's great, who's someone who's dealing with this situation where you get to choose between living a life that you never had or lost, and that, unrealized, that the realization that you can have something that's not necessarily lived, and that, feeling of what if, or spending a time with, someone you've spent your whole life with already. And it's a beautifully tender performance from her, and Miles Teller is extremely charismatic. Callum Turner is fantastic here. I watch him and he gives me, I know it came out recently that he was one of the favourites to play Bond potentially in the next Bond, saga. And I can definitely see it. I think he's extremely charismatic and charming, and he does have that very classic Bond feel and look. He's got that old movie star kind of vibe about him, and it really shows here in this film. And to be honest, I haven't probably seen him in a heap because he's obviously someone who's really come from, really rose in the last few years. Davine Joy Randolph and John Early, however you pronounce it, apologies, are fantastic, and very much a comedic aspects of this film, and they're really great. But everything here is really top notch. The script is incredibly sweet, romantic, incredibly beautiful at times, really funny and really sharp, and extremely well written. And it's realistically just elevated from this impeccable production design. The obviously the set of Afterlife, it's something that has to feel somewhat otherworldly, but it feels somewhat known in a way, and I think that's beautiful. And it's accompanied by this incredible score as well, and I think everything is just really firing here. I'd be lying. I was probably an emotional wreck, to be honest, for the last 25 minutes, probably longer. And there's a beautiful, I think everyone can connect with this film, in my opinion. It's a film that I think everyone can kind of grasp with. Obviously, love's a universal thing and a universal feeling, but that lost love, the concept of obviously losing that love, and I think it's something that will really shine, and I really hope it gets its audience. There's a line in here that is beautifully tragic, which, like, maybe the best thing about love is that it ends. I think that was off the top of my head. And I think that it was just something that really hit me at the time in the movie. And I really did love this. I had a ball. I thought it was like really, really funny at times, but beautiful. It was tragic. It's really, really sad and emotional at the same time. It did very much give me, to me, it feels like the eternal sunshine of the spotless mind of the 2020s. It's obviously, got, I think the TV show The Good Place is something that deals with a similar circumstance, and it's very much intertwined with that. But overall, I could not recommend this film enough. If you like rom-coms, even if you don't though, I think it's a film that everyone can get something out of, and it is something I highly recommend. So please go out and see it. I think films like this definitely need their love, because I really don't know anyone who would dislike this. But if you have seen it, comment below, let me know what you think. If you like the review, give us a like, subscribe for more, and we'll catch you next time.